Hello, and welcome back to Daily Story, your home for thrilling audio adventures. This is MagicSurprise F, and we are so grateful to have you with us. If you enjoy our tales, please consider hitting that like button, sharing this episode with a friend, and subscribing to the channel so you never miss a story. Now get comfortable, and let's begin today's audiobook. Tonight, we delve into the secrets a work of art can hold. This is The Weeping Portrait. My name is Alara Moreau. I restore damaged art, bringing beauty back from the brink of ruin. The Vancroft portrait was my biggest commission, a masterpiece veiled by a century of grime. But it wasn't grime I washed away. On the first night, the painted eyes of Isabella Vancroft began to weep real tears. The commission had been a lifeline. The Vancrofts were old money, owners of a sprawling Gothic estate that seemed to sag under the weight of its own secrets. They wanted their matriarch, Isabella, restored to her former glory. The portrait, painted in 1912, was magnificent even in its decay. It depicted a woman of breathtaking beauty, with dark, luminous eyes that seemed to hold a deep, unspoken sorrow. Mr. Vancroft, her severe and silent grandson, led me to the West Wing studio where I was to work. "He has been in the family for generations," he said, his voice as dry as old paper. "We expect perfection." For the first day, everything was normal. I meticulously cleaned the canvas, removing layers of yellowed varnish. As Isabella's true colors emerged, so did the depth of her sorrow. Her expression was so masterfully painted, it felt less like art and more like a captured soul. That evening, I covered the portrait with a dust sheet and retired to my guest room, exhausted but satisfied. I was woken in the dead of night by a sound, a soft, rhythmic dripping. My first thought was a leak in the old manor's roof. I followed the sound back to my studio. The room was cold, unnaturally so, and smelled faintly of salt water. I pulled the dust sheet from the portrait, and my breath caught in my throat. From the corners of Isabella's painted eyes, two glistening tracks of moisture ran down her cheeks, pooling at the bottom of the frame before dripping onto the floor. I touched a finger to one of the tracks. It was wet. I tasted it. Salt. They were tears. My logical mind scrambled for an explanation. A chemical reaction between my cleaning solvents and the oil paint? Condensation from the room's sudden chill? But no scientific theory could explain the palpable grief that now radiated from the canvas. It was a living sorrow. I didn't tell Mr. Vancroft. He wouldn't believe me. He'd think I was mad, or worse, that I had damaged the painting. I decided to observe. Every night it was the same. I would clean the tears away, and by morning they would have returned, sometimes as a gentle stream, other times as a frantic flood, as if she were suffering from a fresh, terrible grief. The sobbing I'd hear from the hallway grew louder. I had to know her story. I spent my days in the Vancroft library, poring over family journals. The official record was brief. Isabella Vancroft, beloved wife Alistair, had died tragically young from consumption. But her personal letters, tucked away in a forgotten box, told a different tale. They were filled with a growing sense of dread, a feeling trapped, of a deep fear of her husband's violent temper. Her last entry was a single, terrified sentence. "He knows I know. I fear he will silence me forever." Isabella didn't die of a disease. She was murdered, and her spirit, trapped within the oils and pigments of her own likeness, was trying to tell me. The tears weren't just sorrow, they were a message. But what was the message? What did she want me to see? One night, as a storm raged outside, the weeping was more intense than ever before. The portrait seemed to shudder with a silent, desperate anguish. I knew I couldn't just wipe the tears away anymore. I had to look closer. As an art restorer, I have tools the average person doesn't. I wheeled over my portable X-ray machine, hoping to find a hidden layer, an older painting beneath this one. The X-ray showed nothing but the original canvas. Frustrated, I switched to my ultraviolet lamp. Under its cold purple light, most of the painting glowed with the dull fluorescence of old oil paints. But one spot shone with a different, brighter intensity: the pearl necklace around Isabella's throat. It had been retouched. Someone, long ago, had painted over it. My heart hammered in my chest. Carefully, I applied a mild solvent to a cotton swab and began to work on the largest pearl at the base of her throat. I dabbed gently, painstakingly removing the top layer of paint a millimeter at a time. The original, glossier paint underneath began to emerge. It wasn't a flaw they were hiding, it was a reflection. Under my magnifying lamp, the image came into focus. Reflected in the tiny curved surface of the pearl was the scene of the painting's creation. But it also captured what was happening just outside the frame. In that tiny sphere was the distorted image of a man's face, Isabella Vancroft. His expression wasn't one of loving husband admiring his wife. It was a mask of cold, murderous rage. And his hand was raised. He hadn't silenced her after he found her diary. He had silenced her right there, in the middle of her sitting, as the artist painted her. The artist, terrified or paid off, had covered up the incriminating reflection. The family had buried the secret for a century. Isabella's tears were a desperate attempt to erode the paint, to wash away the lie and reveal her killer. The next morning, I presented the magnified, digitized image to Mr. Vancroft. His face turned ashen. The family secret, the one he was raised to protect, was exposed. He didn't speak, he simply nodded, a broken man. That night, I entered the studio for the last time. The air was warm and still. The scent of salt water was gone, replaced by the faint, sweet smell of dried roses. I approached the portrait. It was dry. The tears were gone. But more than that, the deep-seated sorrow in Isabella's eyes had vanished. In its place was a look of serene, profound peace. My work was done. I hadn't just restored a painting. I had restored justice to a lost soul. Thank you for listening. Be sure to join us next time on Daily Story for a chilling tale of a man who makes a desperate deal, only to find his own shadow has become a sentient, malevolent hunter in The Man Who Lost His Shadow. That was The Weeping Portrait. We hope it sent a chill down your spine. This has been a production of Daily Story on the MagicSurprise channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more audiobook adventures every week. Until next time, listen closely.